You're listening to Jonesy's Jukebox on KLOS. It is 11 after 12 bells on a Monday. That was Jonathan Wilson, his new album. Trafalgar Square was the name of that track. And we had Led Zeppelin, Going to California. And we have a guest, Jesse Kinch, who's sitting next to me. How you doing?
I'm doing great, man. I'm feeling good.
Yeah?
Awesome. Yeah, great to be here.
Yeah. Let me just talk a little bit before we get into you a bit.
All right, man. Do your thing.
So, I got this cold, whatever it is. I've had it since Saturday morning. Can't believe it. No energy. Blocked up. Didn't go out the whole weekend. And last night was absolute nightmare. I didn't sleep at all. Just that thing where your head just keeps going, like you're like, it's almost like feverish, where you just like got like, you know, that fever thing in your head. It just keeps repeating stuff, nonsense, you know. And so I watched a bunch of TV. I watched on Netflix. I watched a movie about Pele, but it wasn't a documentary. It was guys playing him. Actually, funny enough, Sir George, the Brazilian singer, plays Pele's dad in it. I mean, it's all right. It's every cliche in the sun underneath, you know, in it, as they do these when it's about someone's life. But this had every cliche. But I still enjoyed it. I watched Barry. I love Barry on HBO. That's so funny, man. So funny. And I watched Silicon Valley. I watched The Making of Nevermind the Bollocks on that channel AXS. That was interesting. I ain't seen that since when it came out. I don't know, 20 years ago, whatever it was. That was interesting. Brought up a lot of memories. But yeah, here we are. How are you, Jess?
Like I said, man, I'm feeling great. I'm just happy to be here.
Where are you from?
I'm from Long Island, New York.
Oh yeah?
Yes.
You still live there?
I still live there. It's very nice. The summers are great, but the winters are very harsh.
Yeah. You like that? You like that hot, sticky, humid in the summer?
I don't actually. I actually would rather have some drier air, but it's okay. Now Long Island's beautiful though, and I'm probably about 40 minutes from the city.
Yeah, I was in Long Island. Was it? It was last year. I had a book out, and I did Manhattan, Long Island, New Jersey, then did a book signing thing.
Tri-state, okay, great,
yeah,
great.
Yeah, it was interesting.
What was it? What's the name of your book?
Lonely Boy.
Lonely Boy, gotcha.
Tales of the Sex Pistols.
Wow.
Do you read much?
I love to read. I love to read biography. It's my favorite. I've probably read about 60 rock and roll biographies since I was 14.
Yeah?
Yeah. Maybe more, I don't know.
So you're obsessed with like music, rock and roll?
Listen, man, I grew up on 60s rock and roll. And just in general, I think that was one of the greatest eras of music.
60s?
In terms of artistry.
Yeah.
I feel that the artists were in control of the music industry. The people who were writing the songs, singing them, and doing everything, they were running the show.
Yeah.
And I just when I was 6 years old, I picked up a guitar. As soon as I picked up a guitar, my dad said, "Man, I got to get you into some 60s rock." And, you know, I was introduced to Jimi Hendrix and the Beatles, and I embraced that music. It wasn't forced on me. I was fascinated by it. I was fascinated by the energy. But then when I was about 15, I bought a record player from some money that I made from doing an off-Broadway musical, and my dad gave me his record collection. And then I went out myself and bought some records, and I was just fascinated by this sound and this artistry that was coming out of that era. I didn't care that it was old. It wasn't like oh, this is nostalgic, I feel cool. I just was amazed by the music that was coming out from that time, the poetry, the music, the melodies, how the songs were driven specifically by melody. When today the songs are kind of driven by heavy beats and the actual loudness of the sounds coming out of the speakers. But I just, in general, I just was in love with that era.
Was your dad a 60s guy then?
Well, he grew up in the late 60s and 70s, so, and my mom as well, so they both grew up in that time period. So I just, I love their music from their time.
Like, who'd you like then? Who's one of your favourites from the 60s?
Well, I mean, obviously, in terms of songwriting, I love John Lennon. I'm a huge John Lennon fan. I love his lyrics. I love the darkness of his melodies. And you know, I loved the passion of the Doors. I loved the first album especially. I loved Jim Morrison's voice. Obviously, I like him as an artist, but as a person, he was a little screwed up. But you know, and I love some of the things that aren't as popular. I love the Chambers Brothers. You remember that group back from the '60s?
What was their song?
Time Is Coming.
Time.
Yeah.
Down.
Yeah, Time
Went
Is
on
Coming.
for about 20 minutes.
Oh God, I love that stuff. I love.
So you write your own music?
I do write my own music, yes.
And you're very influenced like that. Is your stuff like 60s, like that kind of vibe?
I don't. Yeah, it is. But I think it's Jesse Kinch though. You know, it's influenced by the '60s, but you know, I obviously try not to be too derivative. But I think you can absolutely hear the influence.
Yeah.
I mean, I even love the actual pop music that was coming out at that time. If you listen to something like
Mamas and Papas.
the Mamas and Papas, that pop music was great. I mean, California Dreamin', Monday.
What about the British Invasion?
The Dave Clark Five, because I love all
That's
that.
like, to me, if you didn't know anything, you'd swear that was a Beatles song. That cool.
Well, because it's so melodic.
Yeah.
And the Beatles really brought, besides rock and roll, besides stuff like I Saw Her Standing There, they brought real melody into rock and roll. I mean, rock and roll kind of started off like, you know, Elvis Presley and Little Richard. It was a passionate vocal over 3 chords. But the Beatles, they brought melody. They brought the influence of classical and
different
and
chords.
jazz. Yeah,
Like minor chords.
minor chords and more complex melodies, which is great.
Yeah. They for sure was the first ones on that bandwagon to from the 50s to that 60s, where it was all about songs like, you know, Eddie Cochran.
Oh yeah, Eddie Cochran, yeah, that's great.
You know, Little Richard.
I love the Ronettes. I love Ronnie Spector's voice.
Yeah. You're born in the wrong era, you are.
Oh well, no. You know what I say when people ask me if I was born in the wrong era? I feel like I was meant for this time period. That's what I feel.
Okay.
And when people ask me if I'm an old soul, I say I'm an eternal soul.
Yeah.
That's what I say.
That's what you say?
An eternal soul, not an old soul. A forever soul.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, man.
How old are you?
I just turned 24 on April 20th.
Ah. You're young.
Yes.
And you was born in 94?
94.
Man, 94.
Just a little bit, about a week or two after Kurt Cobain died, actually.
Yeah, so you got a lot of energy. You seem like a 24-year-old with tons of energy, and I'm like knackered. You're talking to an old cow right now.
Oh, don't say that about yourself. Come on.
See, even the way you say that is with energy.
Come on, what else were you into, Jonesy? Come on, give me some stuff.
When?
Well, it's late 60s, because I love all that psychedelic stuff, too. I love the Jefferson Airplane and...
No, I mean, I was born in 55, so
55, right.
My period, when I really started getting into music in like 65 when I was 10.
Right.
You know, the Beatles, I remember seeing Help on the TV, on the black and white.
You like the Byrds at all? Like stuff
I
like
wasn't a big fan, but also I liked a lot of reggae too.
Reggae, okay.
Because this was the era when there was skinheads for the first time. Not the weird ones.
Not the... Oh, I didn't know there were skinheads in the 60s.
Yeah, and in England, not here. And it was a whole nother culture. And
You know, this is not the same skinheads that lit the stage on fire at Woodstock 99, right?
no, they was Hells Angels.
Oh, okay, got you.
Or they Hare Krishnas, I don't know.
Oh, I don't know.
They look like skinheads in disguise.
Oh, boy.
But this was like reggae, Tamla Motown. That's what skinheads used to listen to.
Oh, yeah, Motown. That stuff's great.
You know. And then
Martha and the Vandellas dancing in the street.
Yeah.
Oh, what a sound.
Yeah. And then that kind of ended, and then I started becoming like into like the hippie glam thing started when I was like 14, 15. So I got into that. And yeah, I mean,
So who are you listening to, man? Come on.
well, let me tell you
In
something.
the late 60s. Who
Let
you
me
listen to?
well, still early 60s when I was,
early 60s,
when I was
gotcha,
10.
gotcha.
I heard Purple Haze for the first time. The guy who lived next door to
Oh,
me
God.
had a 45 of Purple Haze, and I remember saying, play it again, play it again, play it again,
Right,
because I didn't
right.
have a record player.
Right.
And that was like a big influence, that song.
You know what?
A mind boggler for
I
me.
went to a record store like 3 years ago, and I found a brand new copy with just like a reprint of the Are You Experienced album, and it was remastered from the original tapes. And it sounds amazing.
Yeah.
Sounds like maybe just a little bit brighter than the original 45, but
It sounds
great.
good
Yeah,
whatever it's on that track to
You,
me.
you know what? People are really surprised. As much as I love rock and roll, I love great singers like Andrea Bocelli. You ever hear of Andrea Bocelli?
No.
The Italian Sarah Brightman. You ever hear of that stuff?
Was it like opera guy?
Yeah, opera. Yeah.
Like, what's his other name? The black big fat lump who died?
Oh, you mean Pavarotti?
Yeah.
You ever see? Have
He
you
like
ever,
the pasta.
But see, I think rock and roll and opera, the intensity and the passion, it's very similar. But have you ever seen the performance of James Brown and Pavarotti doing "It's a Man's World"?
No.
That's something you have to look up. It's James Brown singing "It's a Man's World," and then Pavarotti comes in with this magnificent sounding opera voice over the same chord progression. You know, the D minor to the A minor 7. It's just you got to hear that. Go
He
look up.
he has a great voice, that guy.
Yeah.
He's one of them blokes who
Wow.
you feel it when he sings.
Oh, absolutely.
It almost gets you teary-eyed. Well, some songs like what's the big one, Ave Maria, when he sings that.
Oh God, yes, absolutely.
But also who sings a great version of Ave Maria is the guy. What was his name? That big black guy, but he had like a sweet voice.
Yeah,
the brother. He had a brother too, Aaron Neville.
Oh, yes.
Aaron Neville. He does a fantastic
Right.
version.
He
of
had a
that.
big hit in the '60s, right? He had that strange vibrato.
Yeah, and he was a big dude.
That Donovan vibrato.
Yeah.
That quivering.
The go.
Yeah.
Let's play some music. People think we're nuts.
No, man, whatever you want. We can keep talking.
You do sound like you're from the East Coast. You sound like Slim Jim. He's got that thing, you know, like Slim Jim. You know who Slim Jim is?
I don't know who Slim Jim is.
He
No.
was the drummer in the Stray Cats.
Oh, the Stray Cats.
But he's from your neck of the woods.
You see, I know a lot of people who know the people from the Stray Cats.
You read a book about it.
Wow.
What was your favourite book you read?
You know what? I really enjoyed. There's two books that I could not put down. One was John Lennon: The Life. It was an 800-page biography.
800 pages.
Oh,
Yeah.
oh. No, I didn't get tired of reading. It was great. And the next one I really loved was Keith Richards' biography.
Yeah.
It was fascinating. The stories he told about Brian.
Did you listen to it?
What?
Or did you read it? Because he does the audio for it. Him
Oh,
and Johnny Depp and some other bloke.
Johnny Depp. I know Johnny Depp's in that rock and roll crowd. But no, I didn't hear the actual audio of it, but I read it. It was
Yeah.
amazing.
Yeah.
Hearing the stories about Brian Jones and
Yeah.
all that stuff.
Should we play some music? This one's going to blow your mind. This is a band called The Action. This is a band from the 60s, and it never got released, this record,
Right.
until recently.
Right.
And this is called Brain. And we're here with Jesse Kinch. You listen to Jonesy's Jukebox. You're listening to Jonesy's Jukebox. Cal OS. That was Jesse Kinch. I Put a Spell on You. And then before that was The Action. Track called Brain. That was a good version.
Thank you.
Your voice doesn't sound like your speaking voice. You sound like a dude who's like 50 years old with your
Oh,
singing voice.
yeah. I've been told that a bunch of times. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what Josh Groban used to say that because he was the host of that show I was on, For Your Rising Star, and he used to say, "Man, your voice is like a beast on a leash." So I came in, I was talking, just talking to him, and then I sang, and he's like, "Man, I didn't expect that."
Yeah. Forget about it.
Yeah.
So tell me about that show. When was you on this show?
I was on 4 years ago. 4 years ago this June. June of 2014. That song, I Put a Spell on You, was actually my opening number. But
You did that in the show?
yeah, it was that was the opening night. I did Whip and Post by the Allman Brothers 2 weeks later, Seven Nation Army by the White Stripes. I actually won the show singing Fortunate Son by Creedence and Love Rain on Me by The Who.
Oh.
Yeah.
And was that fun to do?
Oh, it was.
Was it like nerve-wracking because it's like regular TV?
Well,
it ABC, right?
It was ABC. It was live television, but it was not nerve-wracking. I was very happy that the show was live because I felt there couldn't be anything fake about it. I just go on and on live TV in front of millions of people, and all I can do is just sing my heart and soul out and just be Jesse Kinch. You know, there's nothing more to it. You can't overthink it. And the way, just to make a long story short, I was contacted by a casting director, and they heard my version of I Put a Spell on You, and they said, we want you to come down to Boston and audition. From Boston, I was sent to L.A., and then from L.A., I went on to the official live show. Yeah. But it was great. I really enjoyed it.
What did you get from doing that? Do you notice there was a big difference prior to that till after?
Well, first of all, mass exposure.
Yeah.
5 million people a week watch the show. So I was able to showcase myself in front of millions and showcase the real me. I wasn't going on there doing pop songs or top 40 stuff.
Yeah.
I was doing the stuff I grew up with, which was...
Did you have a label before that? Was you signed to
I did not have a label.
Did that get you a label deal? Or was it their label deal where you got nothing and they got everything?
Well. That's another story. From winning the show, I got a deal with a major label. It did not work out, obviously, because they...
Oh, really?
Yeah. Obviously, it was kind of a situation where they said, all right, I'm going to make a long story short. You're a square peg trying to fit into a round hole. Why don't we give you some top 40 pop songs to sing, and you come in the studio and put your voice over them? It wasn't, I did not have the freedom like I did on the show, where I was just able to choose my own songs.
Yeah.
As soon as I won the show, I was on a major label. They said, this is what we want you to sing. And I said, no, this is what I grew up on. And obviously I wasn't in a situation where I could be the Jesse that people saw on the show, that 5 million people a week voted for.
Yeah.
And I was very passionate about my sound and the way I wanted to come across on my first record. So we had to part ways.
You didn't sign a deal then at this point.
Well, the deal was incorporated into the show's contract.
Yeah.
But after that, I got away from that situation with the major label. That was not for me, not the right atmosphere.
Yeah.
And I found my way to a label called Curb Records out of Nashville, and I just released my record on vinyl, actually, which came out on April 13th.
Yeah.
It's out on vinyl now. It's actually going to be released digitally on June 1st, on all digital platforms. And there's a mix of original songs and covers. There's the first single released was a song called Preaching Like the Pope, which is reflective of my experiences with the major label after winning the show. Just how dismayed I was with the whole situation. And then there's a few covers. There's I'm a Man by the Spencer Davis Group I covered on the album. I Put a Spell on You, This Boy by the Beatles.
Now, did they want, obviously, on mainstream TV, they probably wanted you to do covers so people had somewhat could relate to the songs.
Well, obviously on national TV, on a show like that, they want you to
when you're not known.
When you're not known, they want you to do songs that middle America's familiar with.
But you picked the songs.
I picked the songs. And when I went in the audition, and they said, you're in charge of your songs. You're on the show. You're officially on. As long as we can approve them for television, you're on. Yeah. And I chose I Put a Spell on You, and the second week I did Whip and Post. And then I did Seven Nation Army, which was a more they wanted me to say, could you try to do something more modern? Could you try to find something that was at least in the 2000s? I said, well, I used to love Seven Nation Army by the White Stripes. Yeah. Except I always thought it could be faster and heavier, but...
That's the dun.
Yes.
That's a big thing in soccer.
Yes, I know.
They all do that. Yeah.
And then,
why did you get paid for that?
What, for winning the show?
No, if soccer players... I mean, if the soccer crowds... They're not playing it, but they're singing the melody. Do you think he gets paid for that?
I'd hope he does.
I don't know if he does though, because they're just doing it live. It's not like they're playing a record of it, right?
But
Anyway,
but yeah, and then by the week, you know, after the week I did Seven Nation Army, there was a different kind of atmosphere where they said, you know, if you get far enough, if you win the show, you know, I don't know if you're going to be doing the record you're going to be doing. One of the producers was telling me, and I said, you know, you got to try it. Could you do your own version of? This is going to make you laugh, but somebody actually came up to me and said, could you consider doing a Kanye West song, putting your own spin on a Kanye West song?
yeah.
I don't follow any modern hip hop. I can't name one Kanye West song, and it was just that was the route. I could see the change.
Well, that's what you're dealing with in mainstream.
And by the time I won the show, I said, I see what's going on now. And when I was sitting with the people from the major label, I just kind of asked myself, you know, you saw 5 million people a week voted for me doing these songs and singing them the way I did, and I feel like I felt the pulse of my audience.
Yeah.
I really did. And it's coming from a very, very genuine place.
Yeah.
I really felt them. From the younger girls who were getting into the classic music I was singing to the older fans. I felt this energy, and I felt like I know what people want, and I know what I want for myself. And this major label I was with kind of just ignored that. And I think it was a
typical
fear aspect of, do we take a risk?
The usual.
Do we take a risk and let this kid do his album his way, or just give him one of these songs that we hear every day and just put his voice on it? And
was you playing clubs prior to that?
I've been playing clubs since I was
like little clubs.
I've been playing clubs since I was 11.
Okay, so after you did that, was you playing bigger places?
Oh well, yes. After that, I remember I did a big show at a college in New York. I remember there were like 600 people there. It was much bigger than playing in front of 20 people.
Yeah.
Then I was doing bigger shows in New York and Nashville, and then I hooked up with Curb Records in Nashville, and Mike Curb, who's the owner of that label, who introduced me to that label was Al Bell from Stax Records.
Yeah.
I got hooked up with Al Bell and Barry Gordy's son Kerry Gordy, and they had seen a bunch of YouTube videos from the show, and they hooked me up with Curb Records, and Mike Curb heard my music, and he wanted to almost release my music from, you know, the way it was recorded in the basement of my home. He was really just a big fan of it, and he sent me into the studio the summer of 2016. He said, you know, just do your record your way.
Yeah.
I've heard your sound, and
so would you say you've done that now? You've done your album
man,
the way you wanted.
Oh, absolutely. I'm really happy.
Do you have
really,
a girlfriend?
You know what? I think it's best not to discuss relationships. But you know what? My biggest relationship is with my music right now.
Oh man, that's it.
That's my biggest relationship.
Okay. Let's play another song off your record. Who?
The title track.
The title track. It's the Kinks.
Yeah.
I'm Not Like Everybody Else.
Right.
We're here with Jesse Kinch. You're listening to Jonesy's Jukebox on KLOS. You're listening to Jonesy's Jukebox on KLOS with my guest, Jesse Lynch. That was The Doors, Crystal Ship, and before that was Jesse Lynch. I'm Not Like Everyone Else.
Kinch.
That's what I said, Kinch. You know what? You're right. I'm sick, man. I don't feel good. That was a Kinks classic, and now Jesse is gonna do a song. What are you gonna do, mate?
This is the first single released. It's called "Preaching Like the Pope." It's an original song.
Are you loud enough there?
Yeah, I don't want to blow my ears out.
Okay. Tell me if you want me to turn it down when you start.
All right, you got it, man.
Take it away, son.
Come on, man. Turn it up. I'm walking out the door. Go ahead and shred my funny signatures. I'm back where I began singing songs, such new with some amateurs. But that's all right with me, 'cause I'll never be your cookie cut. Love it's over. I'll be back to break the mold, yeah, that's what I do. The radio don't want me, you keep preaching like the Pope. Preaching like the Pope. Preaching like the Pope. Come on. Yeah, I'm your rising star, and you tried to stop the music in my soul.
You're listening to Jonesy's Jukebox on KLOS. That was Jesse Kinch. That was original, yeah?
Yes, that was an original song, yes.
Preaching like the Pope.
Yeah.
That was good.
So yeah, man, just did a show last night. If I was a little rough, sorry.
Didn't sound rough.
Nah, man.
You're playing tomorrow night?
Tomorrow at the Hotel Cafe, yes.
Yeah, and you got a new album.
Yeah.
I'm Not Like Everyone Else.
Yeah.
Everybody
else, right.
Sorry,
Yeah.
sorry. Chew me head off. Out June 1st.
Right.
Well, listen, buddy. Thanks for coming by.
Thank you.
You have good pipes.
Thank you.
What you got, Shovel?
We have some tickets to give away right now. KLOS and Jonesy's Jukebox welcome LCD Sound System and Yeah Yeah Yeahs to the Hollywood Bowl. This Friday and Saturday, tickets are on sale now, but we have a pair for caller number 20 at 800-955-KLOS, furnished by Live Nation Hewitt Silva.
Nice one. Let's go and visit the Duke.